Hi everybody, Bob with Knivestown here. Today we're going to take a look at a knife from CRKT. This particular knife is the Tighe. This comes in a couple of different versions, sizes rather. There's the regular and then there is also a mini Tighe. Ships in a plastic sleeve and comes with some literature. Right here we have a pamphlet that describes the outburst assisted opening mechanism, which this knife has. We'll talk about that. And here is a catalog of all of the rest of their knives that they carry. They've got a real good lineup, lots of good quality knives there. Check them out when you can. This is the Tighe. It is designed by Brian Tighe, and it is an assisted opening knife. It's got a nice snap to it. I always like a good assisted opener, you know, one that's just really got a good opening mechanism to it. It's got a good snap to it. Yeah. That's just fun to do. Okay, let's do the technical specs first. That's a blade of 3.6 inches. It is hollow ground. And that steel there is 1.4116. Now, if you're not familiar with that, that is it's a steel made by Krups. It's a German steel, and it's comparable to 425 modified. That's what the Gerber Applegate, Gerber Fairbairn Applegate is made from, that combat folder that's been around for many years. I've got one myself, and it's a decent steel. It's a good decent edge holding steel. It is 5.6 ounces, and the blade is 0.12 inches in width, so a little over 1/10 of an inch. The Rockwell hardness on that steel is 55 to 57, and it is like I said, it is a frame lock. Let's take a look at this blade. It's got some interesting lines to it. The first thing that you're noticing on there, I'm sure, is the serrations. This is, if you're not familiar with CRKT or these serrations, these are called VEF serrations. That's VEFF, and that's they're designed by Tom Veff, and he designed these to be serrations that would cut cleaner, cut easier, with less effort, just everything better. They are cut at a 50-degree angle into the steel, and you can resharpen those. Resharpening them is not the issue that it might appear at first. What you would do is you would get yourself something like, like a Gatco, this particular sharpener from Gatco. It's called the Triceps, and you can see it's triangular, so it's got 3 different angles on it, and you'd find the one that works, and then you can fit that into the serration, and you can sharpen it that way. It will sharpen up, so it's not that bad. And then as far as resharpening the rest of the blade goes, it does have a flat spot near the spine, which is something I always look for because I tend to use the clamp system sharpeners. And so I'm always looking for that flat spot there, because if you haven't got that, if it's a full flat grind from the spine to the edge, then you haven't got a decent spot where the clamp can grip. And if you put it on there without that flat spot, the blade will just wobble as you try to sharpen it. You won't get a consistent edge. So having that flat spot there is a big help if you're using the clamp systems like the Lansky. That's what I use. And so that'll help you get the belly sharp here as you use that, and then use the other sharpener for the serrations. The blade is coated with a titanium nitride coating, which protects it. Moving on to the handle, you can see there that it's got a very interesting scale. Now that's made of Zytel, but if you look closely at that, you can see that you know, it looks like it was made to mimic carbon fiber. It does have a checkering pattern cut into it that if you look up, let me see if I can get a close-up on that for you. Can you see that? Well, anyway, it's made to mimic carbon fiber, but it is Zytel, and it's got a lot of interesting pattern there, which is, you know, it's just aesthetic, cosmetic. That's Zytel, and that's laid over on top of a 420J2 frame, and we'll take a look at that also. That is, like I say, it is a frame lock. And that is, there are traction ridges in there to get that open. So you'll pull that back to close it, and when it opens, that locks right into place. Oops. Does have a pocket clip, and that would be, you know, that's about how much would show above the pants pocket. So it's a fairly low rider, pretty low, and that rides tip down, right hand carry only. It is not swappable to any other position. To here, it's not swappable to the other side or to tip up carry. You can remove it if you want. If you want to take it off, you can do that, but you can't swap it though to any other carry. The handle is really well designed for grip, and you can see here there's a ridge and then belly and then ridge and then ridge. It really lays in the hand nicely. See that? It's comfortable in the hand, and then the thumb naturally goes right on top of the blade with those serrations there. And those are some decent serrations. You can see them from the edge, even edge on. So those are good and grippy. I really like the thumb studs on this. It's an assisted opener, and so that means that first 5% or so is what you're gonna is where you really need to put the pressure into, and then from that point on it takes off on its own. But that first little bit does require a little bit of effort, and they've put good solid thumb studs on there for you to do that with. It makes it easy. I like the CRKT assisted opening system. That's one of my favorite of all of the assisted openers, because they use a torsion bar, and it seems to work. It seems to work better than most others that I've seen. You know, I mean, some have the spring, the coil spring at the pivot, and that works well too. But this torsion bar, I've always thought anyway, really has some good pop to it. And now you're getting a good shot there of how thick the liners are, the frame. So it's, you know, good thick 420J2 there. But I'm trying to show you the torsion bar in there, and you can see it. You can see it. It's kind of hanging off to the side a little bit here, so that makes it a little harder. But there it is there. You can see that black bar right there, and as that piece of the steel, as that piece of that back of the blade comes around, you can see the bar. It hooks right in there, and then it just whoosh flips it out. Now, if you want to take that out, you can. There is a screw right down in there. You can see right down in there. That's a T6, and that holds the bar in place. So if you wanted to turn the knife into a manual opener, just put a T6 Torx head 6 down in there, slide the torsion bar out from right here, right at the end there, It'll come out, and then you've just turned it into a manual opener. That's a nice knife. It really grips well. It's got a great grip on it. You know, I mean, it's a straight ahead, so it's really, yeah, that's good in piercing. You know, and as far as sharp, yeah, that's real sharp. That's a great little knife, great knife. And it's got that really nice assisted opening system. It really comes out with a snap. I mean, the knife actually kind of rings in your hand for a second after it opens up. And that lockup is absolutely solid, no wiggle at all anywhere. It's an all steel knife with some really great serrations there. That's the CRKT Tighe. Well, thanks for watching. I'll see you again.